So how do you think about watches as an element of your style?
I think a watch actually is another piece that I would, if you had the means, it'd be worth investing in. Again, I always look at things in terms of longevity. If I can keep something that I know I'll like and keep it for a very long time, and I'll enjoy wearing it each and every time, to me that's worth spending the money on. I wasn't always like that, you know, obviously I'm 35, so I've been doing this for a long time, so I understand my own style now. Maybe when I was 20, I probably wouldn't do that because I don't know what I would like or want, but I think as you get older and the more you pay active attention to your own style, you can start to realize, like, you know, these are the things that I care about and these are the things I like, so it's worth it to invest in these things. So anyway, a watch I think would be one of those things. As far as like how it plays into a person's personal style, that's really up to them. I look at watches, I pay attention to watches. I don't know if you're the same way. And so when I see a really nice watch, I think that almost sets the mood. Like, he can be in, like, I don't know, joggers or something, but if he has a really cool watch, I kind of pay attention because I know that he's paying attention to at least one element of his look, right, or his outfit. So
you wear a beautiful vintage Rolex. Has that sparked any conversation? Like, somebody has talked to you about it?
Absolutely.
It's a conversation starter.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, like, this 16030 is it's very subtle because, you know, it's steel. It has a black dial. It's not anything like too flashy, but people who care about watches, they kind of do like a second look and they're like, oh, that's cool. Like,
yeah.
And it's not expensive. It's not crazy. It's not like a platinum, whatever, date just, or
there's no diamonds in the
dial. It's not blinged out or anything. It's pretty standard. But I think when people know or appreciate watches, they can see, like, oh, this guy, you know, he has a cool watch. And I've sparked conversations at registers with them. People, I'm just like at a coffee shop. It's cool.
Yeah, it's a one way the guys can express themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jewelry.
Yeah.
Personally, I think watches are one of those things that are admired by many men, right? And they're willing to invest a lot of money in a watch, to look at it as an investment or something they can wear. Personally, I don't need a watch, right? I mean, we don't need it to figure out what time it is anymore. And I think most men don't really use it for that. It's more of a status symbol to impress others or to just demonstrate what you have. And if you're into watches, that's great, right? But if you're into fountain pens instead, to me, that's just as fine as well. And yes, I think every gentleman, every man should probably have one or two watches, but oftentimes it's like with shoes, you know, sometimes you have a lot of them and people start having lots of different watches. You could probably get away with 3 different styles of watches, right? Kind of a dress watch, flat, gold, round, simplistic, nice leather band, then maybe a more like a sporty watch with a NATO strap or a Yachtmaster. I mean, you have to figure out what you like, but ultimately with technically very few watches, you can cover everything you need. If it's a passion of yours, yeah, buy the Rollo.
That's right. What are your personal favorite brands?
Watch brands?
Yeah.
I like a Cartier Tank watch. I think it's just nice. Is it technically overpriced? Yes. So are most watches. Like, I personally am a big fan of vintage watches. I don't care so much about the label. I don't even care about their timekeeping or their technical aspects. To me, it's more about the look they create, right? And I care probably more about the watch strap, you know. Does it work well with the tones in my outfit? Does the metal work with my cufflinks and my ring, my buckles? And what kind of feel does it give me? Is it a 30s feel, 50s feel? I definitely don't like oversized watches that are too sporty. I don't like all those, you know, $100 watches that you can buy online that everyone promotes. I'm asked to promote those, and you know, they're from tens of thousands of dollars, and I'm like, no, I won't do that because it's not what I think people should have.
That's a fun one. Okay, I definitely appreciate the aesthetics of fine mechanical watches much more than the Apple Watch. 100%. I think they've done a good job with the new series, where the shape of the dial is better and it has a flatter silhouette. And I'm going to be very curious to see how that technology evolves, not just with Apple, but with everybody else over the next decade or so. But for me personally, there's the element of the function that comes with it, as far as it freeing me up from my phone a bit more, or certainly the things related to fitness and stuff like that. Because what I will say is, from my own perspective, having a soft dad bod and a Panerai or a Rolex is not as good as being in better shape and wearing an Apple Watch.
That's a great point.
So there's not, you know, for most guys it doesn't have to be that kind of a trade-off, but for me it helps me keep track of my movement and just as kind of a reminder that it's like, no, you're taking your health more seriously because you're seeing those numbers and that kind of stuff. And so yeah, there's some offset there. Yeah.
I like that you had the Nike, like the sport watch band on at the gym, and you were using it, and now you're back to like a leather.
Right. I've got like 5 different bands, and I think that's key, where you have to have, it can't just be, you know, the silicone band when you're in a suit or something else. So I've got brown leather, the rubber one for the gym, I've got a black leather, and then I've got a gray, like a gray canvas that's more casual. And that certainly makes it feel like it's a different watch, and it's more appropriate depending on where you're going or what you're doing too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. So I think watches, guys don't wear that much jewelry, you know, and let's be honest, the watch is a piece of jewelry. So I think it's cool because you get this one thing, you know, or maybe 2 things if you wear a ring or a necklace to kind of express who you are. And so a watch can say a lot about you. It's also kind of like a club, you know, watches are kind of like a club, because if you do care about the brand or the history behind it or whatever, you know, the mechanism that makes your watch run, then when you spot another guy who's also into that, you have an instant connection. So for me, it's 2 things. It's a way to kind of spruce up an outfit that might otherwise be kind of simple, and it's also sort of a little bit of a fraternity. It's like a secret club that you only know about if you're into it.
And Raphael from Gentleman's Gazette said his favorite watch was a Tank, and so the other night he was like, "Hey, it's a Tank," and that's one way that the conversation starts around watches as part of that club.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, every time, like, you know, out at like eating alone at a restaurant or like flying or at an airport, I always look at guys' watches and just, you know, see if I can start a conversation that way.
Has yours started a conversation with somebody else?
You know, oddly enough, no. This watch hasn't. I've had more compliments and conversation starters on some of my like more affordable watches. So, but I'm hoping, like, you know, sometimes I'm like, hey, hi, like, and everyone's just like, oh.
I'm in the Rolex club. I'm over here.
Yeah, right here. But no, but I've started conversations though.
Yeah, I definitely have too. There was like a guy, he had a vintage Rolex on a NATO, and it's like, that's a dude that's into watches. Like, if you walk up to that guy, he wants to talk about the watch.
Totally.
And then we ended up talking for like 15 minutes about it.
Right.
I even recommended some French channels.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.